Welcome back to Never Ending Cars, taking that never ending ride. Well, we had some fun these past week or so. We had a lot of hail going on here in Colorado. I decided to take my car somewhere where it would be under cover. And so that way my wife could put her car in the garage. And in that time, I'm backing in a space and the car just dies. So I had to sort that out. Started looking, and I had put a fuel filter. I think it's like season 1, episode 3 when I got it running. I'd put a fuel filter right at the gas tank to double up on the one that's on the carburetor as well. And at some point, the little silver cap on the end there had let go. And there was a little bit of sediment of some kind in the bottom of it. Kind of figured maybe the filter's plugged up. Who knows? So I bought a couple of filters and figured I'd just keep running it, until the filters stop plugging up and go from there. Had success changing the filter out, no big deal. Did that at the place where I had it parked, and started driving home, and made about halfway home and it dies again. So we towed the car, brought it to the garage to see what we could do with it and figure out what's going on. I think there's stuff in the gas tank just sitting up against the pickup tube and maybe buried around the little sock that's on the end of it to filter it, and just plugging it up because it only runs for a short spell and then it shuts off, and repeat, do it again, runs, it shuts off, and then it just doesn't start. So if you let it sit for a little bit, it'll run, but then it stops again. So here we are. This is what we signed up for, as I always say. And so we're trying to sort that out. So I'm actually going to take all the gas out of it now that I filled it up, of course, full, and figure out if we can take that tank out, take a look at the pickup, take a look at the sending unit itself because my gas gauge doesn't work. And it appears I've got a as I was saying, camera just shut off for no reason. Yeah, we got one coming in the mail. Hopefully it'll get here soon. It's from Phoenix, Arizona, so it probably shouldn't take too long. But in the meantime, we may as well get all the gas out and get the tank out and just kind of take a look. I don't think it's the fuel pump, but it could be. But it's kind of also hard to tell unless I just hook a gas can to the fuel line and go from there and see if it's still pumping, which I may do that too, just to see. I'll have to go buy some fuel line to do that, but we'll see if we get that far. So I was reading the description on the sending unit. It says that he's never had any returns, so obviously they're the right one. And we'll just cross our fingers, hope to die, stick a needle in your eye, and then maybe we'll have a gas gauge. In the meantime, if the gas tank is kind of grody, I may just try and buy a new one. Go from there. I see them online. They say they fit the car. Who knows? I might have to order it, see if it works, but I'm going to try and get mine out, measure it, and throw up the measurements against what I see on mine, and hopefully that's it. It's like a couple $100. So, and then we'll just replace all the little fuel neck, O-rings and gaskets and vents and all that stuff that are in it, and go from there. So it's been interesting. Car's been here for a couple days, just sitting. So I think I'm just going to go over and work on getting the fuel out of there. Take a look at how the fuel looks coming out. So got my handy dandy siphon. Yeah, I know it's old school. I'm old school. Whatever. Could do an electric pump and do all that stuff, but what am I going to do with it afterwards? I don't even need it. Friends got some too, but it's all right. We'll just, make it happen. So maybe use these clips to help hold stuff, but we have a new filter on there. This is just an extra. So yeah, let's take off and see what we have going on back here, and get this gas cap off and start filling up some gas cans, because thankfully I got 20 gallons worth of gas cans over here, and it only holds, at least by the book, 14. And I said I just filled it up. So here we go. So locking gas cap. Got my dolly in the way here. It's perfect. It's a great spot for it. See what we have here. I've had gas in these before. A little bit dusty. Maybe if we drop that on the floor. Love it when they coil these up and then you gotta like try to uncoil them. Good little part. This is actually the first one I've ever owned as far as a siphon goes. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to electrically just get that out of there, just get a clicky clack as they call them. And just bzzz, but you know, then I got to run cables and batteries and 12-volt stuff everywhere and blah blah blah. So like, I have nothing but time. So that's what this is all about. So we're just gonna do what we can with it and do it this way. All right, maybe we can jam the little flap open with this thing and then see if we maybe spin this thing. Might be bunched up in there for all I know. Squeeze in, squeeze in. Nothing. So let's take it back out. Nope, didn't even make it very far. Well, if I can get this thing to stay, I think we have it. Now I don't know if it's all the way in there or not, but I got it in further than before. Don't feel anything dragging on it, so I don't think it's picking anything up. Nothing. We'll keep trying. Well, I guess we'll have to do this a different way. This ain't gonna work. We have to do it from underneath and see if we can capture the fuel from the tank. But that is if it isn't plugged. Well, we'll come up with a game plan B, game plan 2, punt, bunt, whatever. So what we have here is the old school way of emptying the tank. So I'm just putting it into a gas can, as you can see. Gas is flowing. It's flowing freely. It's flowing clean too. I'm not sure that this is the actual problem, but it just seems like it is. It could be the fuel pump going out too, but I don't know. I think what we'll do is we'll take this system off of here, reverse it, and then throw it into the gas can once it's full. Fire up the car and see if it runs and stays running. That's the biggest thing. Stay running. So could be something else, but nonetheless we need to empty the tank anyway because we have a new fuel gauge coming. You know, a sending unit to make the fuel gauge work anyway, and that'll give us a chance to maybe get in there and inspect it a little bit. Just hopefully we can get the majority of it out of there. We'll check back and see how things are going. Fuel stopped flowing. I think I only got 7 of the 14 gallons out of there, but we do have it plugged off anyway, and I think pretty much ready to go because no more is coming out. So I got a plug on the pickup tube, and I've got the vent here. Screw 4. That thing is now loose. Dirt like crazy. Slide that down. It's out of the way. Alright. On to the upper side. Take the gas cap off. Here we go. There's bolts right there. And bolts around that ring. And then when you go to the inside, all this stuff comes off. So I guess I'm just going to loosen all those bolts and see what the scoop is, unless this tube has to come out of the tank when the tank comes out. And if that's the case, I'm in deep doo-doo, because gas is going to go everywhere. Not too sure about all this, but we're going to try it out. Well, it's the next day, and we're still messing with the fuel system here, trying to sort out why we're not getting fuel, whether it's a plugged tank, or we're going to try and see if it's a bad fuel pump. So we have Teeny here trying to help us out. So she's going to be at the wheel and try and start this thing and make it run. So let's head back here and give it a couple cranks, see if we can get some fuel. We have our gas can with our fuel line, with our filter. So let's try and start it.
Ready?
Yep. Keep going. One more time. Nothing. All right, so let's try this another way. See if we can feed it a little bit. Maybe with some fuel, and see if the engine will kick over, which it should, and then maybe it'll start pulling fuel. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Problem is I don't have a little bottle to do it with. All I have is a big jug of gas. Let's just see if we can do a little bit. Oh, that was a lot. Got it all over the air filter, of course. See if it'll fire with that.
Ready?
Yep. It's not going to run for very long. We have the fuel pump in hand, so we removed that. It was only a couple bolts and a couple fuel lines, but yep. So we got that. We're going to take that with us and match it up if we can find one. Well, we made a run to a couple stores. Got a fuel pump and a fuel filter. This one on the carburetor. I haven't used the one that came on the carburetor, but I figure since I'm in this fuel system, I may as well change it up, right? Get this off of here. Nope, no fuel. A big wrench. There's one. That's it. Alright, so we'll just toss that old baby. Eventually we'll get down to just this one, but for now I'm running two because of that gas tank being old and still don't trust it. So, although it would have pulled some good sediment by now, it doesn't seem like it has. So, it's a little bit bigger. Yep. It should be good. This did come with new clamps like those, but I'm still going to use my worm drive ones. I don't even have some lettering. I like lettering. Do you guys hide your lettering, or? I don't. I like the lettering when it shows it on hoses and things like that. I'll show you. Yeah, you know what I mean? See, like, I like the lettering showing, personally. Shall get these clamps on there. Tighten these bad boys back up. I always like to make those face the same way or whatever, but yeah. Now, that's on there. So we're going to leave the air cleaner off because we're going to check and see if that leaks later. Let's put this in the way somewhere else. That's done. So, onto the fuel pump. An old gasket here. Hopefully it just comes off in one piece, which it did. Not too bad. We're going to have to clean it up. So, let's get some stuff to do that. Got our little razor blade here with the long reach. Try and keep it out of the hole there. Alright, got the big stuff off. Grab us some 100 grit. Might seem like a lot, but we're gonna get all the gook off of there. Nice clean surface. A little bit left there. I think we're in business. Okay. So ready for the new pump, and put some oil on there to kind of prelude that. So that way it doesn't run dry. And when it first started up anyway. Let's get one of our bolts started. I don't believe this is a push rod system on this one. It did just go right in, so it seems okay. I don't want to find out the hard way, but you never know. Go ahead and tighten this up. I think I remember putting one of these on before, and it was pretty simple, so I don't remember a rod being in there. Torqued to specification. Torqued to specification. Okay. Now, let me get that whole fuel line in there. See if we can start that. Oh yeah, went right in. And hopefully we don't over torque the heck out of that. I am using a line wrench on there. If that other fuel pump was bad, I'm wondering if it threw gas into the oil into the crankcase. Hopefully not, but the gas, or I should say that the oil, when I changed it, had a bunch of gas in it, so this fuel pump might have been bad the whole time for all I know. So we might have to change the oil again, believe it or not. But we'll see what the scoop is. I'll check the oil here in just a minute. Boop. Just like that. Let's check this oil since it's been sitting. It's in the safe zone. It's not over full. It doesn't leak a whole lot. And I just wiped that off for no reason. Let's check that again because I want to smell it. And it smells like oil, so that's good. I think we might have caught it in time if that's actually what's wrong here. But you know what? For 40 bucks in filter and pump, it's worth it. So I guess we'll have to grab Tina and have her start this thing up for us again, and we'll get the gas can set up back there again and try and fire it up, see what happens. All right, well, we got Tina with us again. She's got keys, maybe a couple punches of the gas, and then I say try it. Keep going. Keep going. Try it again. Try it again. Damn it. One more time. Nothing. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? It's definitely in the fuel. Try it again. What if I did this? Try it one more time. Nothing. Nothing. Why nothing? I don't understand. Makes me think the fuel line is plugged. But I don't know for sure like how that could happen other than rust and corrosion. Well, we've done it once. Maybe we'll just do it again. In other words, I think I'm just going to hook the gas tank back up and try and see if it'll pull fuel that way. Because, again, we have a brand new fuel pump now and a new fuel filter. So, unless the line is clogged, I don't know. That's something I could have tested while it was off, actually, and all unhooked. So, I may test that out too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll check on that. Grrr. All right. So since we have everything apart, and this is being a pain, literally, and we're gonna do something cool. We're gonna take this and run it through the fuel line in reverse, like do a reverse air flush. You know what I'm saying? And just make sure there's nothing in the line. Go from there. You know what I mean? So you guys are gonna have to tell me if anything comes out though, because I won't be able to see it. So let's just do like 20 psi. See what happens. Here's 20. Oh, that's good airflow. So that ain't clogged. We just hooked everything back up and just gonna try it. Why not? There's Tina's suggestion. Hers usually work out. So we're putting gas back in. Okay, well, we're all connected back up. You're staring at my oil filter, so you're gonna have to tell me if you see anything. Hopefully the battery will last long enough that it'll actually do something. So let's see what happens here. Do we have fuel yet? Not a single drop. Not a drop. Let's see if we can get it to fire. Need to fill the fuel bowls. What I need to do. This thing hates me. I mean, it wants to. Give me some fuel. Fuel, please. Maybe? It's not doing anything. Nothing. Well, it's day 127 of not having a fuel delivery to the carburetor, so here we are, stuck still, trying to sort it out, trying numerous different things, drain the tank, try to do fuel lines and new filters and stuff like that, and here we are still, no fuel. We did unhook the fuel lines, all the rubber lines, and then we ran an air compressor through the metal lines to go all the way to the back of the tank. Clear as a bell. Just like that. But yeah, so here we are trying to still get through this and see if we can get fuel up there. Last I looked, there was no fuel even in the filter at the back of the tank. We have one of those clear ones back there. So I'd say we take a gander back there, see what we have, and then we have a whole setup here that a buddy of mine told me about to try and draw fuel all the way up to the pump, so maybe we could prime the line, see how that works. So we have our handy dandy hair compressor ready to go with our little blow valve right there, and then here we got the fuel pump unhooked. This is actually the end of the fuel line right here, and then I just bought another foot and cut a little hole in it to where we can blow air through here, that direction, through the end there, and see if we can draw fuel. So prime the line and see what happens with that. Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't. I've never thought of trying it, but you know. So let's go back here and take a look at what we got as far as fuel goes. So, well, looking at that, the filter looks a lot bigger than what it actually is, and that means it's full of fluid. So it looks like it's at least dribbling out of the tank. I don't know. It wouldn't prime up when I had the fuel pump on it and cranking it and stuff, so maybe this is a good sign. Maybe we can start drawing that through with some of this air, and hopefully we get fuel up front. If we do, we'll just, jam the old fuel line right back on and then try and, fire up this screaming demon. So let's go take a look and see what happens up there. Well, we do have our air compressor already filled up. That way you don't have to listen to all that noise. And then I guess we'll try and get set up on a view, see what this little trick does. Well, we got our little tool loaded up, ready to go. Got a pan down there. We're going to jam this in the hole and see what happens. Nothing yet. No change in sound. Here it comes. And of course we ran out of air. So it worked. We just need more air. All right, so round two. Jam this in there. If I can pinch that off. See if we can do two things at once. Not sure if I caught it in time. Well, third time's the charm, maybe. Seems like I only have one chance at this with this little baby 3-gallon air compressor still. Here we go. All right, so we got it that time. Now I've got it where it's plugged off. Got fuel all over my hand. Ouch, that hurt. Let's hope it stays up there. All right. We'll fill up the carb and see what happens after that. I was just sitting on there. All right. See if we have enough to fill this thing up. Right down the vent tube. And a bunch down the carburetor. All right. I guess we'll try and fire this up. We did leave the ignition on for like an hour and a half the other day, so my coil might be fried for all I know. Let's see. Of course, it's going to run. Got fuel in the carb. See if it's going to die. Does it only run on the fuel in the carb, or is it going to start pulling fuel? That's the question. Maybe it's not a question. Come on, baby. Try it. Just fire up. One more and then the battery will start dying. Well. Nope. Well, after a quick hit on a simple, 2-bolt project with a manual pump here, fairly interesting that it didn't work. So, guess we're going to try something different and go from there. But with that being said, this thing is pretty much wrapped up for the time being. I'll just toss that in the old box here and save that for a rainy day or something, or I don't know, or donate to the Ark. So with that being said, we're going to call this one good. And we're going to try something different. Maybe something with, a little electricity. Thanks for joining. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you like what you saw, click like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for joining Never Ending Cars and taking that never-ending ride.